Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Okay, let's start off with this whole Paulina, Chanel, Allie and Trip scene. So pretty much Allie and Trip are having dinner, and Paulina and Chanel come in because they were baking and having a good time and all this and that, all good stuff. By the way, and I said this yesterday, but seeing how Chanel's actually on this episode, just a reminder that they're going to be doing, well, they're going to be recasting her. It's going to be a new actress playing the role, and to be honest, I really don't care because, well, same trash-ass character, but I figure I should let people know because, that's going to be a thing. Especially it's always jarring when you sit there and get used to someone and then out of the blue they just like, I wonder what happened to the other person that played Claire. I gotta sit there and find it out. Anyway, so they all meet up and, Chanel introduced both of, Trip and Allie and stuff like that to Paulina. And of course with Trip, well, actually this is after. So she starts off with, she does start off with Trip a little bit. It's like, hey, listen, sorry, you're the person that, my daughter tried to stick that $500 tab when, of course, Chanel was like, oh, well, you still, you ripped on my credit card. It's like, that's supposed to be an excuse, but whatever. So, Trip was like, nah, it's all good, don't worry about it, talks about he's a med student, and, she's all like, oh, well, this is the type of man that I want you to be with, yada, yada, yada. So, Chanel's like, no, that's not who I want to introduce you to. I want to introduce you to Allie. And she pretty much is like, she's going to be my partner, she's my friend, and she's also going to be my partner as far as bakery, going to be doing a whole bakery thing. And at first, I couldn't understand, because Paulina just kept side-eyeing, Allie, and I was like, sweetheart, what is your issue? So, the first thing that comes out of her mouth, well, not the first thing, but one of the things that come out of her mouth is, when she talks about, she's gonna be, my partner, I'm gonna be hiring her and stuff. And Paulina's like, but don't you think you should be hiring a woman of color? And, listen, I'm not gonna lie, that just put me off. That really put me off. Because I looked at it, and, her whole plan is about diversity and giving people a chance and yada, yada, yada. No, she's said something very similar with the whole basic black thing. And the reason why that bothers me so much is because I can tell she's a woman who, doesn't like racism and stuff like that. And I felt like that was just a racist ass comment. I really do. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. She should hire a woman of color because she's a woman of color or because she's qualified for the job? Because, your whole, equal things and giving people chances and stuff like that, isn't that what that's supposed to be about? So the fact that the first thing that came out of her mouth was, don't you think she'll hire a woman of color? I'm like, are you kidding me? Also, this reminds me, and I know I'm going off tangent a little bit, but this reminds me of the whole Jordan Peele thing. Jordan Peele not wanting to hire a white male as a lead actor. Wants to, just hire, I guess black men or men of color. And the reason why that bothered me is because it's like, okay, you're supposed to be standing for the whole, non-racism, stuff like that. And the first time that you get in a position of power, this is how you choose to, and granted, I understand there's a whole reason about that, and about black people not being able to be hired back in the day, and listen, I get all that, but that type of attitude, it just, I was going to sit there and say it rubs me the wrong way, but no, it pisses me off. So that comment that came out of her mouth was like, are you kidding me? Anyway, so she goes on about that, and I'm just not there like, is this chick serious? But, apparently flattery will get her everywhere because that's what Ali did. And then out of nowhere, she's like, oh, I like her. I'm like, what happened to your whole women of color thing? Yeah, do you really stand on those principles? Not gonna lie, that just... Anyway, she says she likes her, so now she's on her good graces for whatever that means. And, Tripp left because, Dr. Dick called him up, and so he had to leave. Apparently he's not allowed to have a life outside of being a med student, so, yeah. Anyway, Chanel is not there talking to Ali. Nothing really crazy or anything like that. But, she's all like, I want you to be my partner and stuff like that, in the bakery, and, if my mom says it's cool, then it's cool, because she always speaks her opinion, and yada, yada, yada. But then they talk about the whole Tripp thing. And, this is when Allie's like, I wonder what she would sit there and think if she knew that we kissed. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, I mean, would you plan on telling her that? Because you kind of just announced it to, well, damn near everyone in the restaurant. And of course they walk over, so I'm just sitting there wondering, did they hear what she had to say? And granted, if she did, then I would want to know, is she going to be supportive? Is she going to be all judgmental? Like, whatever? Like, I mean, me personally, love is love, no matter who you with. But, unfortunately, some people... I know some people sit there and say they consider themselves old school, but I feel like it's just more of an excuse of, well, I don't like the situation, or I don't like those two being together, but instead of me sitting there saying that, I'm just going to sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm old school, like that's some sort of excuse. Whatever. Anyway, seems that Paulina and Abe are hitting it off. Abe was sitting there talking to Rome in the square, about how he likes her and stuff like that, and she's charming, this, that, and the third, and her passion, and her drive, and all that good stuff. And Roman's like, listen, you should go for it. I missed my chance, but, if you see happiness, take it. So when they get to the restaurant and stuff like that, Rome is a great wingman. Rome is a great wingman. So I'm not gonna lie, I did actually like that scene. Rome is like, he was telling me about you, and, you're charming, and this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. So, he pretty much just kind of set it up, and then he, was like, hey, listen, I got some food or whatever on the house, and he walks away, and I'm like, now that is a wingman right there. And so, it seemed like they're hitting it off, so see what happens. Abe seems like the type of person that deserves happiness, and unfortunately, he's not going to get it, because the minute he realizes what Paulina is doing, the fact that she, pretty much lied to his face, whatever happiness he thinks he's going to have with this woman is going to be very short, fleeting. Lies eventually do come out, Nicole, so it's only going to be a matter of time. Let's talk about the whole Bella and Jan Spears scene, because Bella, she's there, she's at the hospital, and, she's looking over Jan, and she's like, oh, she's talking like, oh, you try to hurt my family, try to hurt this, that, and third, I'm not having it, I'm sick of it, I'm tired of it, and she looks at, the plug, and I'm like, alright, Bella, I get you looking at that plug like you tempted. I mean, you have every right to be tempted, but, that's just, that's kind of crazy talk, And then this chick actually pulls the damn plug, and I was just like, wait. Are you serious? Like, I actually rewind that, because I was like, whoa, did she actually, she really pulled the plug. Sean came in there, was like, what did you do? Like, he's like, yo, are you serious? Now, mind you, when, I think at some point, this is after when the nurse came in, and then you had, Philip and Chloe there. And the nurse was like, alright, he's fine. It's like she's fine or whatever. Everything is good. So she walks off. And Sean is like, yo, have you lost your damn mind? Like, are you serious? Like, didn't you just, like, spend some time in jail? You want to make that, like, a permanent home or something? What are you doing? And Philip was like, hey, I'm cool with it. Like, what's the problem? I don't see the problem with that. Like, let it rot. I was like, Philip, I like your energy. He's alright. I'm not gonna lie. Every day that I sit there and see Philip does something or say something that actually makes me laugh, and it's like, wow, you seems like a decent person. I'm just sitting there thinking back, like, man, I was sitting there calling that dude a man child for like a good minute. I don't regret that, but writers, they actually did something to, impress me. So cool. But yeah, Philip was like, yo, I don't see a problem with that. And, Bella was like, hey, relax. I was just sitting there just making sure that she was gone. I'm like, relax? Sweetheart, if she didn't if that didn't work when you put the plug back in, she would have died. You would have went to jail for real. Like, real jail. Not like, overnight, a couple hours, like real jail. But, Sean convinces her, hey, listen, she's not going to wake up this time. They're sure they're not going to be fooled twice, yada, yada, yada. They're good to go. With that being said, everyone leaves the room. And, of course, when everyone's gone, Jan Spears' fingers starts to move. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what that means. But I'm just kind of looking at it like, writers, listen, Days just got renewed, okay? Days has been going on probably just as long as GH. I don't know which one is longer, but they're in the same realm. And with that being said, you pretty much have a new lease on life. How about we try not to screw it up? We can start by, making other villains, not just recycling Jan Spears another 2 or 3 months or 5 years or, whenever she comes out of her deep sleep. Like, Can we just get, like, some better villains? Don't get me wrong. Orpheus is great. Kristen is great. I don't know about EJ. But he seems like he's dark. He has some darkness in him. So that's going to be interesting. Like, let's just leave Jan Spears in the past for a while. Just stop bringing this chick back, like, over and over again. Because, come on. Like, as Days fans, like, I feel like, especially the hardcore ones who've been watching it for a while, they deserve better than just recycling Jan Spears for the, 4th time, 5th time? I don't do better. Now, the last scene I'm going to sit there and talk about is the whole double date scene between Steve, Kayla, Justin, and Bonnie. Because at first, Steve was like, hey, listen, Kayla, she's not here, and I don't really think we should, do it tonight, because, she's running late, and, it's just not a good time. Kayla runs on in there like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm good, like, let's go, what's the problem? Now, Justin overhears this, and he's like, alright, Steve. And, he goes kind of hard on him. Like, what are you doing? You're not going to sit there and hurt this girl's feelings. You're not, like, we decide to do this way you can get to know her, not see her as this terrible person, like, see her as a person that's changed and reformed, Like, what are you doing? So, mind you, Bonnie overhears the whole thing. Now, granted, Bonnie had a different outfit when she came out, the first time, and I was just like, okay, this is an interesting look, I guess. I didn't even know what to say about that. I was like, okay, whatever. So anyway, overhearing that, she's like, listen, I just gotta freshen up, just, and, Justin's like, yo, you good, like, what do you need to freshen up, like, you good, like, what's the problem? But Bonnie's like, no, just go there. I'll meet you there. So Justin gets there to Steve and Kayla at the, I guess Julie's place. And Bonnie does eventually show up. Now, she shows up in a completely different outfit. Mind you, before, everyone got together, whatever, Steve... Oh, why am I so damn thirsty? Steve and Kayla was sitting there talking, and Kayla was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why are you sitting there trying to bail on him again? Like, don't do that to Justin. Don't hurt his feelings. Don't hurt Bonnie's feelings. Like, we made plans to do this. Let's do this. And, Steve was like, listen, I'm going to be real with you. I keep it 100. Like, when I don't like somebody, I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I like them. I'm just going to be real and honest, But, Kayla's like, just give him a chance. So, when Bonnie does get there, she's dressed completely different. And Steve is like, Steve is just like, okay, like, what's going on? And then, Bonnie's sitting there, she wants to order a drink that's like Adrian. The way that she looks, apparently, like the way she's dressed, is like Adrian. And so after a while, Steve is like, alright, like, whoa, what are you doing? And he calls her out. It's like, yo, listen, why isn't they trying to dress like my dead sister for? Like, what is your problem? Like, are you kidding me? Like, he goes off on her. But then Justin intervenes, and he's like, yo, listen, he gets upset. And, Bonnie just had enough. Bonnie had enough. Bonnie goes off on Steve, and it's like, listen, I wouldn't have had to sit there and dress like Adrian if you would just have accepted me for who I am, for just giving me a chance. But you couldn't do that. So she really goes off on him to a point where even Steve is like, oh, I didn't realize I say, damn. And Steve's like, listen, I apologize. I didn't mean to sit there and trying to make a fool out of you or whatever. And again, Bonnie's like, listen, we set this up like 3 months ago. And we're just now getting to this whole double date? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you didn't even want to go? And so at this point, now there's just this awkward tension. No one's eating. Everyone's drinking. And I'm just like, so what are you going to do? We just going to call a waiter and just, figure out who ordered what and just kind of just split the check and just kind of, Because at this point, they're just all standing there like Justin, is not there arguing with... At first, Justin was apologizing to Steve because he felt like he was, too harsh on him on the phone. Throughout most of the night, he's not there defending her. Kayla's isn't there trying to keep the peace. She's all like, oh, well, we want to go, and yada, yada, yada. It's like, this was such a bad idea. It really was. And Bonnie knew that most likely the night was going to go that way. Steve knew. And, I know he didn't want to sit there and hurt Justin's feelings, but, maybe he should have just kept it at 100 and be like, yo, listen, we're not doing this. Sometimes with people, granted, for a show, a soap opera, makes great drama. But on the other hand, I was like, Steve, you should have just been like, nah, listen, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I'm never going to feel the way you want me to feel about this woman. I'm always going to keep that same energy that I had before. That's not going to change. And to some extent, I get it. She looks like his dead sister. And she's done terrible things to his sister. So, forgiveness, maybe some people just can't forgive. There's just certain things in life when somebody does something that you just can't forgive them. Not just, it is what it is. So, I understand. Some people sit there and say, oh, give them a second chance or whatever. And it's like, sometimes, depending on what they did, you can't do it. And when you fake it, this is the results. So, yeah. I wonder whatever this plan for the square is. You know, with Pauline and stuff like that. You know, because whatever it was, she felt guilty enough to almost tell Chanel when they finished like baking like pie and stuff like that. Like she was gonna tell her, but then she was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that." But whatever this like, you know, thing is, it should be something. And with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you so much for watching. Let me just throw us on in the comment section below. Be safe. Catch you next video.